forgot to start the recording. Okay, now we're recording. So basically it is a startup company, very small. We got kickstarted back in October of last year, and that's pretty much where we got a running start. Shout out to all my closed beta testers prior to the Kickstarter. I know that was rough, but we are doing way better than where we started, and even way better than October. So that is how we fit into all this. And I will say again, or I will just say a big thank you to our patrons, our Ko-Fi members, and our Kickstarter backers. Huge, big thank you. You all have been making this possible. We are not a $1 billion company. This has total grassroots foundations, and basically this kitchen/living room is where InkBlot started. So it's about as simple as it gets in terms of where we get our foundings from. Hi, welcome in. Basically, this town hall is quarterly. I had the last one back in January. I'm kind of late on this one, but had to squeeze it in before public release because I know we will be absolutely insanely busy with trying to do almost everything. So this is what a town hall is. You guys get to see me. I get to talk to you. You guys get to ask questions, which that Google form is still open, and I will keep it open until closer to the end. That way we don't keep having more questions. Right now we're at 13 questions, with some of them kind of overlapping, but we'll get to them. So basically, if you are a current user at this point, then you kind of know that we just did a major transfer or update, and that was definitely rough. I sent my apologies in as an announcement to everyone in the newsletter, and obviously on just the announcements. The development team, should I say, it's literally two people. That is me and our developer. So we were previously on the website, which was written on PHP, which is old. It is very old. If you're not familiar with code, it is a very old language of code, and it has its vulnerabilities. So we took it upon ourselves to rebuild the entire website since the Kickstarter. So we have been, me and the dev, which his name is Amir, have been absolutely working from scratch and rebuilding the entire website. We loved the design that the original PHP code website had, but it wasn't what we were going for. And you know, I'm very honest and open about the development here at InkBlot, and that was actually a template that we took and we built upon it. So the contractor team from New York is who I was working with originally with that website, but they don't know the new code that we're now on, which is called Flutter. Flutter allows us to be able to take HTML, JavaScript, and all that good stuff and move it around and make it look nice and pretty. It's very simple, and pretty much anybody, no matter if you know old code or new code, it allows you to be able to just write it. So that Flutter is also mainly a thing that allows the web app to talk to the iOS and Android apps. So that's a big thing. And a prime example would be that DeviantArt. That is where I started. It's honestly, I was on there for 12, 13 years, so no shade to them at all. But what I'm trying to say is, it's why DeviantArt's app has been so clunky forever. You have the website, which is built on different code, and you have the apps that are built on different code. So try having a conversation with those two, and they kind of don't talk. So that is why it's a big thing that we are on Flutter. It's far more secure than PHP. It's way easier. It's newer. It's pretty much almost industry standard. Google, YouTube, all the big guys or big people use this code. So it was very, very significant and very detrimental for us to move away from PHP. So that is why we did that. And Basically, it was a little rocky start. Yes, it was a lot of bugs, but when you only have 2 people debugging an entire website and 2 different apps, there's going to be some bugs that we did not see. That is why beta testers have the unfortunate experience of running into bugs, and we just try to fix them lightning fast. So we have a status page now that kind of opens up the back end pretty much, and lets you know what me and Amir are working on, and trying to squash bugs as fast as possible. So right now we've been on the pace of updating the website and the apps almost every 2 days, and sometimes every 24 hours. That's pretty much the pace that we've been moving at. And thank you again to our backers, patrons, and Ko-Fi members, because Amir gets paid. So Amir is paid, and that also leads me to our new support team. So it is not just me on the support lines anymore. I'm happy to say that I've hired 3 individuals that are honestly a joy to have on the team, and I hope to work with them for the long term. They are very passionate about creating a new creative home for artists and creators in general. But we are all still learning, and we're still very small. So that is definitely what's the current status with the team. So there's the 3 support members, and there is the 2 developers, which I'm going to include me as the developer since I oversee that. So it's the 5 of us. So that is basically the team. So you guys are supporting a very small team that is trying to take on a huge amount of work, and but we're working towards that endeavor to make sure that it's for the long term. So I appreciate all the support with InkBlot, and I know it can be annoying or perhaps even frustrating at times with some bugs, but we are doing the absolute best that we can to create something that is normally not done this fast and normally not done by a team this small. So, just kind of putting that in perspective, it means a lot that you guys are are trusting us with this, and we're doing the best that we can to make sure that trust stays and creates something absolutely amazing. So that is a big thank you again from me. So enough about thank yous, I guess, because I'll be saying thank you throughout this whole thing. It is the bigger thing right now is the dynamic linking, and I'm sorry. So yes, I did hear about the Buzzly thing, but I will leave that as a question for the end. I'm not going to get too much into it because I try to respect any endeavor that takes on the same mission that InkBlot is doing. But obviously, that team is not my team, and I'm thankful for that. So basically back to the current status of things, dynamic linking, we have it already launched to link to posts and profiles, but it's a little rough. So I didn't make that announcement because it's still a little rough, and me and Amir will be meeting tomorrow morning and trying to push a new update on that. But yes, we are working on it. Being able to link to your profile so that you can share with your friends, family, associates on Twitter, whatever it may be. We're working on that actively right now and trying to get that spruced up. I know you guys are not going to want to hear this, but it's not going to be that beautiful username of yours in the link right now. It's going to be a unique user ID number that will be showing, but we are working on that username to pop up just like the old website had. We're trying to just make sure that the linking in general is working. So we're going to get that as soon as possible. But like I said, we are working on that. We know that's a big thing that you all are trying to see for InkBlot, and we're trying to get back to that. Speaking of linking, the website is now back on the old URL, which is the original domain name, inkblot.art. We were using app.inkblot.art. What a mouthful. But we were using that temporarily so that we were able to switch over everything. And that whole database issue, which I'm not going to get back into again, was a catastrophe. But that is why we had two websites at the same time for a long time. So basically, we are back on the old domain name, and anybody that still goes to the temporary URL will be redirected to the domain name. So that way, if anybody is lost in the chaos, then they'll still be going to the right place. So, the other biggest thing that, I'm not going to address every bug, but these are things that, are very, significant. And we hear everyone, and we see whether it's not in a report or whether it is on the front page of InkBlot. We do see the comments, and we try to fix things as fast as possible, especially things that have a reoccurring topic amongst those comments, which one of them is the blurry text. So we are working on that. Me and Amir have been discussing it almost daily, trying to find a fix for it. It is actually not as simple as some would think. We use a renderer for, or HTML renderer for the website. So as beautiful and as sharp looking as the apps are, the web app is actually rendering the HTML with a pretty much like a kit or an extension like that. And the current extension is in this sort of turmoil that it will show the images great, and then it'll show some of the text kind of weird. And then when we apply a certain fix that has been known to work, it'll make the images not appear. So being an art site, we can't apply that fix. Hi. Yeah, I'm glad you made it too. Thank you for coming out. So we're an art site. We can't just have sharp text and then the images don't work. So we're trying to have both. So we're working on that. It's spotty. That blurry text is like not consistent, and we understand that, and we are doing the best that we can because, first of all, accessibility matters. It's not just for people that are just, well, first of all, I have glasses, so that doesn't mean anything. But what I'm trying to say is that, people with disabilities and people that need to have those tools to be able to highlight, to be able to, to be able to work that text, that matters a lot to us, and we're trying to make sure that the site is accessible. Alt text, should I say, is something that we're also working on once we get that blurry text pretty much nipped in the bud. But we're trying to do our best with that, and it is still a priority. It's just that Amir is fixing things while still trying to apply this fix in the dev environment. So very long-winded, but yes, we are working on that blurry text. It's a big thing. So right now, this weekend, I'm actually, in terms of mobile apps, I'm working on the App Store review. That should be timed enough so that we will be able to launch the apps the day that we want to. Fingers crossed, because Apple is so, well, I really wouldn't want to talk to them any other way. They are very strict. Google Play, so chill. Like, I don't know. Anyway, it's Apple, right? What can you expect? We'll be submitting those to the app stores so that it can be ready for launch day. And any snags in the bug, hopefully no snags. But if we do have any snags, then we'll still be on time. So that's what I will be doing this weekend, pretty much after this live stream. Another thing is the feedback board. That is pretty much what we look at all the time. I know that you probably see or hear me talk about this, or see me mention it a lot. It is literally our bread and butter. I made the framework for InkBlot, but it essentially at some point it's going to be you guys' project as well. Like, it's going to literally be a community site. that was built off the ideas of the community. So as much as, I don't like to give myself a lot of credit for InkBlot, because it's just like, okay, I manage these things, but I'm still asking for ideas. I'm still asking for feedback. And at some point it's going to become a part of the community, or be the possession of the community. So, especially the fact that we're based off of user donations, this is the community's. So I am trying to just manage these things. It's not going to be credit just to me and the team. So we might do a lot of the heavy lifting, but we are in the direction of what the community tells us to go in. So that feedback board is pretty much our gold. We will have it so that the accounts for InkBlot will pretty much be the same account on the feedback board, so there's not that many accounts that you have to do. But right now it is very easy to make an account on the feedback board. All you have to do is just a name, a username, an email, done. No password, obviously. So that's only to submit an idea. If not, you want to just vote, stay anonymous. You can actually comment anonymously and vote anonymously without having to make an account, which for those of you that don't want to make another account, I understand. But yes, you can go ahead, vote. That is feedback.inkblot.art. That is the URL for that, and you'll be able to see all the ideas, what we're currently in progress working on, what we're kind of considering, and just other ideas that other folks have had, and even discussions. So, excuse me. That is also a very big thing for our development with InkBlot. Lastly, the Discord will be going under a revamp. I think I've mentioned, if you hadn't seen, I think I mentioned in there this morning that we are switching over our support system will be integrated. So no more Tixie, no more having a support account. We will be having Zendesk, which is actually accepted or approved the company into their startup program, and will be pretty much sponsoring us for the next 6 months, so that we can have that support system integrated into the app, the website, and pretty much your InkBlot account will be the account that will be connected to support. So again, no extra accounts pretty much. So that way, when you log in once, you're logged in and you don't have to worry about that. And that way, on the back end of things, we know that it's you, and we don't have to be like, okay, who are you? So basically, there's a lot of things going on in terms of making sure that your experience is more simpler. And there is also just the Discord will be made public very soon. I'm very nervous about that. Right now we have a little under 500 people. And we will be opening those doors just as when we go public. So that is going to be revamped. One of the support team members actually is being very helpful, and I'm extremely grateful for their help with making sure that the Discord is a little bit more friendly and more organized. If you don't know, the Discord was actually just strictly for beta testing, like no art, no memes, nothing. Like I was very strict because I was just one person at the time when I made it. So but yes, that Discord will be revamped. Our support system will be integrated. You can already see the button on the website there, and in the little right hand corner, and pretty much that help channel will be deleted. We have a live chat for that support button there on the website, so there is absolutely no reason to stretch the support team in 5 different angles. So that live chat will be available there. Obviously, when you catch one of us online, it'll give the option for a live chat. If not, it'll just be the same ticket system that we've been doing with Tixie. But yes, the support team will not be in the Discord anymore. I will be still in there, obviously, as head moderator, but that is not, I will not be there for support questions, primarily. Now, if you catch me in a conversation, of course, I'm going to answer your question. But, that's what I'm trying to say, is that support is integrated in both apps and web. So that'll be there. Well, it's already there. All right, so plans before launch. Pretty much just trying to squash as many bugs as possible. As mentioned, the blurry text and the dynamic linking we're working on. Just kind of getting that all straightened out. And then obviously the subscription service. So the GoPro membership will stay, obviously. But right now it's not active because we're working out some things with Apple. Our lovely, lovely Aunt Apple. They are rejecting our payment system, and thus that's why you cannot click on the GoPro on the website. So until we get that all straightened out, and Aunt Apple approves of our payment systems, they're making us use Apple Pay. The subscription service is kind of a little choppy in areas, so forgive us for that. It's just the trials and tribulations. But we'll be straightening out that subscription service and going ahead and getting ads into the website. We will be very selective where we put the ads. Obviously, it's not going to be on areas where it's going to be absolutely annoying, but it's going to, being that we're based off of donations and ad revenue, and subscription service is going to be our other places of income. So we do need to put those on the website. It is the business model that was discussed during the Kickstarter and the business model that was made when this company was first a concept. So that is a big thing, and we will try to keep that subscription service as low as possible and just add some features. If you were in the closed beta early on, you would have noticed that the subscription service allowed for more posts to be scheduled. The cap, we don't have a cap right now on the scheduled posts because, like I said, the subscription service is still being worked on, but it will allow you to schedule more than 5 posts, and it'll allow you to not see ads, and it will allow you to have that little cute little InkBlot butterfly next to it. So there's a couple other things that I had in mind, but until you actually see it in action, it's not too much that we can that can be done until it's up and running. So but those were a few of the things. There will not be a cap or a limit on pretty much anything in terms of like content that you offer. I've heard some things about DeviantArt making you pay subscription to offer any type of NSFW content, and that's weird. So yeah, no, just because we have a subscription service doesn't mean that you will have to be paying us to offer certain kinds of content. That's kind of weird. So no worries about that. The ads, like I said, will be selective in where we place them. We'll probably put them in the search area and the home feed. And that's the only places that I can really think about. I don't want to put it on profiles. That's so yucky. I think that, yeah, just the search, the home feed, maybe the explore, but otherwise I don't see it anywhere else. We're just gonna keep it there. So otherwise, that is really, I kind of blasted right through that agenda. But the questions are also something that kind of gives us more topics to discuss. My last pretty much topic before we get into the questions is regarding the age verification. So in the coming days, or actually within the next 48 hours, there will be a pop-up on the website that will, one, have you press a button to update your post counter on your profiles. We know that we've been having a bug where it doesn't show the right amount of posts or number of posts that you have on your gallery. And Amir has pretty much explain to me that we can't do that from the back end. We just need you guys to press a button for us. And then also, as mentioned in an earlier announcement, there is the date of birth issue. When the old website was still being transferred over, there was some people that actually didn't have their birth date at all, or input into their account, which required me to have to make people that didn't have their birthday, I had to actually make them a minor. So I made people 16 years old if the birth date wasn't there. So that didn't allow you to have anything, or post anything, or see the content that you perhaps that's what you would want to see, or post the content that you want to see, since those settings are automatically coded into the backend so that there is no NSFW or NSF or 18 plus accounts, or even gore. So 16-year-olds, which, might I add, we only allow 16 plus on the website. That is not to change. It will most likely never change. I am very strict about that. As I've said before, I am somebody that has been on DeviantArt for 13 years, and which means that, I was of that age that internet was still kind of like fresh and new, no restrictions, no limits. So it's very personal to me that we keep minors, which is what the like a younger generation of our community. It's very important to me that they stay safe. We can't be their parents. We will never be their parents. I'm not going to be their parents. But in order to protect even the adults of our community and to protect the minors, we need to make sure that these restrictions and limits are put into place. So when you are 16 years old, you will not be able to see any 18 plus accounts, any NSFW content, or any gore. When you are 17 years old, you won't see any NSFW content. You will not see any 18 plus accounts. You will be able to see gore, and you will be able to post gore. We're using the rating system that is based off of games. The ratings that, our beloved video games use. That is the rating that we use, which is called ESRB, and I might have that wrong. It might be ERSB, but I'm gonna go with ESRB. Now, and if you would like to have a link to that, you can go ahead and send a ticket in, and I can give you that link. But again, any minors will not have any access to NSFW, or depending on the age, won't have access to gore either. But those that adult content is locked up. That's, like I said, we're not going to allow anyone under 16, and we won't do that. That's just, I feel that is 16 is okay. 16, you might have a license depending on what state you're in or what country, right? 16 years old, you are driving a vehicle that could harm somebody. You are literally, people's lives are in your hands when you're driving. That is 16 years old, right? So in some states, even this state, I think 15. So that is why I chose 16, because that is when you start. That's when you kind of have that responsibility. You can get a job. You can open a bank account, I think. Maybe. I think if your parents monitor it or something like that. But either way, there's some responsibility in a 16-year-old that I'm looking for. But I'm not going to let them have access to NSFW, no. But it's just okay, maybe this person will have that judgment and that critical thinking to be online, right? There's a lot to it. And I obviously I was 16 at one point, right? And I was younger than that. But there has been a lot of people that have been messaging and emailing us to lower the age restriction. So that's why I'm kind of taking a little bit more time to talk about that. So that's unfortunately not going to change. So, and do not blame the dev, do not blame the support team about that decision. That is my decision. So if you feel the need to talk to me about it, my email is open. You can put a ticket in and you could just say, hey, I want to speak to Jay, and we will have that discussion. But it's very not going to really change my mind. And I'm not even going to say not really, you just won't. So that's how I feel about that, given the site, what the content is on this site. So the age verification right now is that only admin can change the date of birth right now. Submitting a age request or an age update is the only way to change your date of birth after you have gained your account. That is the only time that you'll be able to edit your date of birth is when you sign up. Otherwise, what's the point in making sure that, protecting the community, if we allow you to change your date of birth at will? Like, that's not cool. So, but it's also not cool like having to submit a ticket, right? And I mean, you would only probably have to do it once, right? Any more times than that, and it's like, okay, what are you doing? Like, you got to know your birthday at least. Like, okay, one time, cool. 2 times, what are you doing? So, but it's just like, okay, we all make mistakes. So how are we going to verify this age without being invasive, right? Or intrusive to somebody's life, right? Some people may perhaps feel like telling us that their date of birth needs to be changed or updated and stuff. So, we need to be, at some point, even being a small team, we need to have this done automatically. There has been ideas in the past where it's like, in order to have a credit card, you have to be 18 plus. In order to have a PayPal account, you have to be 18 plus. These things can be checked. Like, if you remember, I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but having a card on file, some sites or some banks or whoever, they'll do like a dollar, or they'll just kind of hit your account with the zero charge just to make sure that it's active. So my thought process has been, for these 18, this verification is to perhaps maybe have some sort of check like that. It is not a thing that is on the roadmap. It is literally just an idea that's been bouncing in my head. I brought it up in the last town hall. It has been a conversation that I've seen discussed on other sites as well. It is just, a small charge and automatic refund, right? But I think that there's a way that we can have it so that it doesn't even charge you. It's just kind of like a bounce. Like, I don't know. I can't remember the term. There's a term for it, but it just bounces and it doesn't take any money. It just makes sure that the card is active, it exists, and that pretty much, so, but my thing is that, okay, we had a issue in the past where a lot of users did not want to give their first and last name. So I understand it being invasive and intrusive to someone's life. This is the internet, right? But given that we're a company and we secure our data and that we make sure that this data is not just spoken freely to just anyone, but I know that some people are still weary of these things. So how are we going to verify someone's first and last name when the account does not have a first and last name? So again, this challenge that I'm having with trying to make sure that minors stay out of the community continues to perpetuate me. It's a discussion that needs to be had community-wide, because I don't think that just one person has to have a say in this. So it's something that I'm going to have to bring up very soon. I don't think I'll see any issues for public launch, so it's not something that needs to be implemented right away. But it does need to be I would like to have that implemented within the first 6 months. Not that particular idea, but a solution to being able to update your date of birth without having to talk to the team. So something. This town hall is pretty much just kind of letting you guys know literally exactly what is going on in our heads and what is going on behind the scenes. So most of our community is actually adults, which is fine. I think, and not even I think, I know we have less than 20 minors on the site right now. So that is good, so that we have time to figure these things out. But, obviously that number will increase, given that we will be public very soon. So we will have to see. We will have to get a vote. We'll have to put something out so that the community can help with this, because I understand the need to remain private, but I also the safety for the community is far more important to me. If this is not the site for you, and we do end up asking for at least a first and last name, then just to change your account, not to keep that card on file, but just to change your date of birth. If we do end up asking for that, then that is just going to have to be something that's very good point. It's a good point. The mention here in the chat is that the commission system works. I'm not sure how the commission system works at all, but if it ends up being payable within the site itself, then card info won't feel that bad to give out, ? That is very true. That's very true. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And I think even, what, now that I think about it, even just having a PayPal account, you wouldn't need to have your name attached. You just have to log into your PayPal account. That could be an API type thing. Okay, not all is lost. This is very good. Again, it's an idea, so I'm sorry that it might not seem like I have a solid foot on this right now. It's more so like I've experienced these things, I've seen these comments, and I'm trying to take this feedback and try to make a solution for everyone. So, but again, I don't want to hold up too much time on this particular topic. So since I will be putting something out there to help have a discussion with the community about this, but that is a very good point about the commissions, which I'll just go ahead and talk about that. The commission system right now is, you can post your commissions, and then it kind of just has you send a DM to the artist or the creator, right? So the creator will get a DM from you and request. We're going to further, improve this area. We're kind of split all 7 different ways to Sunday. But we have ideas to be able to make sure that, you use your PayPal, you put credit card information in, and boom, the artist gets paid right away. I think that we were going to, my biggest thing with that is that we're going to have it so that the creator signs a waiver in terms of if they do not want to accept payment upfront. I've seen countless situations where the creator completes the work without taking any payment upfront, and I don't think we can't help with that. We can't help with that if you don't take the steps to protect yourself as a business. If we're being quite honest, an artist, you're basically running a small business. You're accepting payment for a service, right? And whether that service be to draw or to rig a model or what have you, it's you have to protect yourself in these terms of service. So a terms of service will be needed, and then a waiver on our part so that you will not, you are taking responsibility that the fact that you aren't taking payment up front, whether that be half or full or partial or whatever. We're just trying to push for a better business method, or I guess trying to protect ourselves and also try to help artists understand that you need to protect yourself. But we can't force anybody, so. But yes, we'll have it so that there's a commission queue. We'll have it so that there is slots, very similar to how Ko-Fi has it, but a little bit more involved, so that you guys have pretty much like a dashboard for your commissions. it's something that's still in the works, and I still have to make a mock-up for and everything. But for right now, the commissions is going to go directly to the artist, and we will not be withholding any payment. I don't see the need to hold payment from the artist. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to figure out a way that we don't have to have any fees as well. I think that perhaps maybe some commission features would be behind a subscription, but I don't think that there would be any fees involved, since the point is that we're trying to help artists get paid. So the only thing would be some commission features would be behind that subscription service, the GoPro membership, but not a fee. You see what I'm saying? Just to make sure that's very clear. I think that pretty much covers. We're going to have to make sure that the search area for the commissions is far more advanced than what it is right now. Make sure that you can look up tags. Make sure you can look up, just the artists in general. Look up the types of commissions. We had on the old site just kind of an area where you can put tags. You can have a category. You can have certain things that you can help somebody find exactly what they're looking for, or you have your commissions reach the people that you're looking for. So the commissions area will get totally revamped, and we will be working on that. Right now it's just place a DM, and yeah. So all right, I think 1 second, way the art finishes the work and the customer accepts the finish, though I do personally prefer payment upfront. Right, so nothing that I say, I'm not going to say nothing, but when I'm talking about stuff that is concept, more so that it hasn't been integrated yet, most of those chances are that I'm going to reach out to the community before I do anything solid and upfront, because I'm building this for the community. So there's just one person can't think of everything, but I think that we have to allow people to have the option to run their business how they want to, right? So being an artist, how you do things, we need to allow you to do those things, right? So we'll have to make it so that things are more option based. People like options. So nothing is set in stone, but we will be warning people that you're taking a risk when you're not accepting payment up front. You are. So, and unfortunately, given the audience or, the stories that I've heard, these things happen a lot, and scammers do exist. So it's unfortunate, but they do exist. So, You're right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll still have, it will be optional, like I said, and it would just be a waiver in terms of like, hey, you should probably take something up front, even if it's like $5, but you do what you got to do, and just be a waiver on our part that we cannot help you, and we will not take action against that person, because this is, we'll put them on like a list or something. Like, okay, hey, this person, they stole my art, and didn't pay me. Oh, okay, we'll investigate. But if you sign that waiver that you're, okay, well, we can't do anything legally, or we can't do anything like financially for you, and that's something that you had to take to your bank or PayPal or what have you when you're accepting payment or something like that. But I know that someone has brought up that Commission.io. I think it's called Commission.io. They have a very excellent system with that. So that's definitely a business model that I'll reach out to the creators for and talk to them about that, since they have an excellent system in place, and they manage that very well in terms of making sure that the terms are very clear for both parties, artist or buyer, and so that they're able to help their artists when things go bad. So we're gonna do the best that we can to make sure that everyone still has the option to run things the way that they want to. So all right, so I only have 10 minutes. Who let me do that? Okay, let's see. We have a couple of questions here. So we had an issue with our sign up area with the date of birth, conveniently. Kuo. So the question is, how is the April invites going? The April invites are still going. They are prioritized first. We sent out like 200 of them, and then we sent about 200 of them, and then we ran into an issue with the date of birth. So it was like, okay, that's a big thing. We need to pause. We need to fix this. And then once the current date of birth issues with existing accounts is finished, which like I mentioned, within the next 48 hours, we'll be sending out 500 invites. And then after that, we'll send out 1,000 invites per day. So we were doing 200 invites a day until we ran into that issue. So I appreciate your patience with us. But there is definitely some times that we do have to pause things in order to fix something first, or else that issue gets way bigger. But April invites are being prioritized first. I actually have, let me check. I actually have 3 more waves, so you are probably in one of those 3 waves, Kuro. I only have a few minutes left here, and there is actually more questions than I thought. What made me decide to make an art site? So what made me decide to make this site? I was on DeviantArt for a long time. I also run a racing company, so I was on Instagram as well. And how that fits into this is that I was full-time self-employed for 4 years before this, for 2 years before InkBlot. I was able to do that. It was great. I loved it. I quit my job. I did my racing company, which I'm a graphic designer. So I designed all of my products, all of my stickers, all of my merch. And so basically, Instagram started taking this algorithm and it started making it way harder. I was fortunately on that point where on the cusp of when they were making these changes, and the changes were still easy to navigate, but I started seeing a decline. So I have quite a few amount of followers on my racing company on Instagram. And how is it that I'm only reaching 1%? So I got frustrated with that. I've been getting frustrated with that. And I was obviously on DeviantArt for a very long time. It was where I've met even current friends at this point, 6-7 years being a friendship. And they pushed out Eclipse, and they weren't listening to their community. That made me very frustrated as well, just as much as with Instagram. So I was in a Discord call and was talking to some friends who were also artists, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do something about this. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna be about it. And that's exactly what I did. So that is how InkBlot came. InkBlot was actually supposed to be like some other names. It was supposed to be like Blotter. There was another one. Oh man, I wish I could pull up my notes, but there was one of them was Blotter. I'm not even gonna embarrass myself with the different names, but yeah, that's why I decided to make an art site. I wanted to be about it instead of talk about it. I was getting frustrated with the other platforms that were suppressing my reach for my art, and to be able to live my dream of living off of my art. And that's why my friends were also getting frustrated too. So that's why I did that. Will you be relying on user donations to keep servers up and ad revenue, or both? So both, and then also our subscription service. And yeah, so we will be entirely community based. Like that, I cannot say that enough. We will literally. It's gonna be, but it's gonna be hard. But it's gonna be community based, ad revenue as well, the subscription service. but donations will always be allowed. Again, I do not want to, I want to be community based, which means that I do not want to put InkBlot in the hands of some corporate investor who's going to switch everything up. No. No, that's just not. So that's why we're taking that chance and staying completely on user donations, subscription service, and ads. So and whatever else. We also have a store, which will be reopening very soon on public launch. I'm shipping out the rest of the Kickstarter things, and I have some extras to put up on the store. So we'll have our store as well. And yeah, so that's how that's going to go. As risky as it takes, we can't have it be in an investor's hands or made into a corporation. No. Option to have your profile and gallery be viewable only by people with an account. Yes, so actually the PHP website had that. And we are experiencing a bug where it's not letting you choose that option. So it's there in the settings underneath privacy, where it says who can view my profile. It'll say everyone, followers, nobody. That choice would be the nobody one, but that bug is there. But so we have the option there, but it's just a bug. We're working on it. we literally are. It's in the in progress channel, actually. Is there a setting for adult, safe for work artists that do not wish to interact with minors or have them view their work? So you would just have to mark your account as 18 plus at the moment. I say at the moment because I understand, but 18 plus comes with this innuendo or this, I guess this idea that it's going to be adult content, like, you know, explicit content, and you might just not want to interact with minors and just be safe at work, and I understand that, but right now the only option right now would be 18 plus, and you could still post safe at work content, but it would just have that 18 plus marker. I'm gonna we'll put that, if you're in here, the person that posted that question, because these are pretty much all anonymous, if you're in here, please put that on the feedback board, and let's see how the community goes, what they think about that. Most people have been already okay with just that 18 plus marker and just still posting safe for work content. But again, I understand, but it's just not a decision that I can make so flippantly without discussing with the community. How are you going to deal with people flooding the server on day one of launch, trying to claim their name with no intention of using the site? I can't do anything about that. I can't. I really can't. I can't do anything about that. Even during the transfer, it was very difficult to see a lot of accounts, and I want to say 25% of the current user base was just empty accounts claiming a name. It's very hard to see that, but there's nothing I can do. So, we just have to hope for the best, really. Are there profile page comments? It would be nice to be able to leave a comment on a page instead of waiting for them to post something new to tell them you like their work. So that's definitely something that can be done, but I would not make it mandatory. It would be optional, because I've seen some horrors on DeviantArt, wicked ones. Like that kind of opens up another way for harassment, right? Because you don't have to wait for them to pop up on your feed for you to think about them. So if somebody wants to harass them, then oof. So that would just be optional, and I don't think it would be by default. It would be, you turn that on. Again, any of these ideas, please put them on the feedback board. I cannot give a okay, and put them live onto the website after this. we still need to discuss these things with the community, and the amount of votes, we literally do the next feature given the amount of votes on the feedback board. So if that is a very high voted one, then we would do it. But please put it on the feedback board if that is your idea. Is there a way to turn off comments on your own posts or make mutuals only comment feature like Twitter? It's definitely something that I want to do. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. And that's nothing that needs to be on the feedback board either. I would do that in a heartbeat. I think that there's just you're not in the right headspace to accept comments on some or particular piece. It's far too personal, or perhaps you just want a mutual to discuss this thing with you. If it's a status post or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see that in action, like right away. And I hope that perhaps, I think I can speak to Amir about that tomorrow and talk to him about that and go ahead and see if we can get that before public launch. So I think that's more so of if you don't want to talk about it, you don't got to talk about it, You don't want people commenting on this thing, or if you post your OC and someone says it looks like another character. What can you do, right? Will the site support animation and music uploading? So we already have audio post up. There's no limit on it. I think right now we have video and music at 30 megabytes. So it's already there. We have a bug with the video player right now, but Amir's fixing that, and it'll be in the next update, 1.6, version 1.6 for the web app. And I'm pretty sure we've had no issues with it on mobile. So, but yeah, we already have animation and music on there. Yeah, there was a lot of votes for the audio portion feature to be implemented, and we did it. We did it in this update. Let's see. Is there an option to turn off the numbers on likes, reblogs, followers next to posts and pages on the site? Social media has created a toxic environment where people chase numbers, and it would be a shame if it happened on this new site as well. So actually, if you go to your settings and you go to privacy, there is an option to hide the following and follower account right now. You can do that right now, and it'll save those other two ones. Or where that bug is at, but the hide following and followers is already there, and it works on both ends, so the web app and the mobile. So mobile, iOS and Android. So that is already there. Now for the likes and reblogs, yes, I wanted that since the beginning. In the closed beta V1, back where I was the one doing the development, I had it there, and it worked beautifully. It was amazing. I loved it. I don't want to see the numbers. I know Instagram does that right now. I know that there's an extension for Twitter that does that. But we will put that into our site as soon as we get those privacy settings all figured out. But yes, that is on the list. You won't even have to put that on the feedback board because that is on the agenda. I used to deal with a lot of harassment, hate, and overall unwanted comments on sites like these back in 2005. Very, very particular. Is that, how do you plan on handling users that create a negative atmosphere on the site? So, I'm queer, and I'm black, if you didn't know. I'm joking. Harassment is a big thing, and it tends to always lead to like some type of phobic, right? Somebody that's being homophobic, somebody that's being just racist, somebody that's being just, just hate. Right now we have so that every post, every user profile can be reported directly to us without that user being notified, which is how any basic reporting system should work, right? Safety and trust team, we're a small team, right? So safety and trust is pretty much what that would be with, right? We don't allow any of that stuff, and it's just I say stuff because there's so many different scenarios that can be presented, and it would be a case by case basis. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to make the call, especially given the situation. But I do take harassment very seriously, because given the world that we're in, there's a lot of hateful people. Our team is very diverse and comes from all aspects of life, and that is something that I'm very proud to say, and that we have been very cohesive, or should I say, very together in making decisions and seeing things for what they are. So the harassment is not tolerated, very clearly. No Nazism, transphobic, homophobic, any of that hate is just not going to be tolerated. That's definitely a priority. Keeping our community safe is a priority, and will always be the main priority. So, that content guidelines and that safety and trust, that's up there. That's up there on the list. Do you have any plans to create a premium membership subscription tier where subscribers have access to more page customization features like DeviantArt had for the journal? So we have our subscription, which is the Go Pro, as mentioned before. We had briefly on the old website the customization, profile customizations, which I think somebody in the chat mentioned that. It was working great until we found out that there were some holes that needed to be plugged up. And then we took it off. So we've already been testing that. And I think that I would probably go more so for like a Tumblr type thing, where you can like customize your whole profile and not just like those little widgets. It's there. It's in the works. It's definitely there. We took it off because of security reasons, which is a priority. So as much as I would love to look at all the very pretty pages, security comes first. And that's pretty much what happened with that, but we're going to bring it back as soon as we can. We're everywhere right now. So, but that is definitely something that we want to do. Currently, you can change the color of your profile right now, the text color, and you can change how it looks, and that will work both on the website and on mobile. So those colors are consistent. You can choose them in your profile settings, actually. So right now, that is the best that we can do, but we are going to bring back profile customization with the HTML. I know that there is a feedback idea on the board right now that is mentioning something about Tailwind. I need to take a closer look into that. But whatever is easiest. I know a lot of people mentioned Toy House, and we will definitely take a look and take some notes on Toy House in order when it comes to profile customization. Will there be private galleries, posts where mutual/friends you can select? Will there be private galleries / posts where only mutuals / that you select can see? Or a way to upload privately, share a private URL, similar to DeviantArt's stash feature? Is there a feature that automatically generates lower res watermarked version? The artist can upload their own personal watermark on their account, similar to Toy House. And only selected users by the artist have access to the high res to help prevent an art theft in a less hassle way for artists. Okay, so high res in general. I think that's right now, currently at this point for InkBlot. I think that the resolution that you post is your responsibility as the creator. Right now, given the development, I totally understand the need for being able to offer these things, especially if you just want to, let's say you want to offer a high res to your followers, similar to how Patreon has it, so that you can download a high res, visit my Patreon so that you can download the high res or see the high res. So that's something that can be done on the user's end. So what I will say, that this is not a priority on our list. Definitely something that can be done in the future, because I definitely want to add more features to the gallery, especially like the stash idea. I had a earlier on idea, which is not a priority at this moment, and it was going to be similar to stash. and we're gonna call it Pocket. I know, so cheesy, but Pocket would be something similar to Stash, because I know the Stash was really cool, or I say was because I don't go on DeviantArt anymore, but very, very cool idea, and it probably saved a lot of artwork that I didn't have on my computer, and my computer crashed. So I totally understand that would be a cool feature like Google Drive, but the option to have a high-res, offer high-res to certain people, that's definitely a gallery option that we can have in the future. So you can put that on the feedback board, and there's a bunch of gallery improvements that I have a list of them, and I'll put that in there. And a lot of people like to vote on those, so yeah, definitely put that on there. It definitely is something that I'm sure people would be interested in. Okay, so we have 2 more here. I'm curious if it's possible to view art while not logged in. I don't think it is right now due to how the URLs seem to work. Okay, actually it is possible right now, but it's a little rough. We're working on it. You can do it right now without being logged in, just the explore page, but you can't really look at certain things. Like you can just go on the latest page and that's about it. I want to be able to open it up like Twitter has it so that you can go on the search and you can look at the explore area. But like I said, it's rough right now. It's a little rough. We're working on it. We just did that literally yesterday night. And I gave Amir some things that he needs to change. So, but let me finish this question. If that's ever the case, I think it would be wise to blur/hide any NSFW art from logged out users. Otherwise, minors can just get around the restriction by logging out. Yeah, that's pretty much the feedback that I gave to Amir last night. There's no point in putting NSFW on the site just for free reign. That would defeat everything that we're doing. So I don't see it. Last question here. I'm very excited for the idea for side accounts. I'd love to have one, all age friendly, one that's locked to adult, and then also one that's locked to adults so everyone can see the content that's appropriate for them. It looks like this is already in the works, so hearing more about it would be great. Yeah, so we have side accounts. I just haven't mentioned it, and also the fact that I need to give it to backers first, because that was a backer thing. It's really just making another account on a different email. Right now, our database only allows for a different email, but otherwise, you can switch back and forth. I do it on mobile, and I do it on the web app. I do it right now. I know that's for testing purposes, and I don't mean to brag or anything, but I do it right now. It's nice. 2 different accounts, just switch back and forth. Yeah, it's there. I just need to offer it to the backers first, and then I'll just push it out to patrons, Ko-Fis, and then it'll go out to everyone. But the thing is, okay, well, we have a sign-up password, right? So the sign-up password, you need to know that sign-up password. So that's why I'm doing it in those stages, because it's exclusive. And then when it's not exclusive, then also at the point when you don't need a sign-up password, then it makes sense to do it that way. But it's there. Yeah, it's there. And I totally understand the need to separate, given the fact that we restrict content to certain audiences or to certain group users based off of how you mark your account and what age they are. Yeah, we do that. So I know that sub-accounts are very needed. So I think I saw a few questions in here. I don't know if it was mentioned as able invites. Let's see. Is there a way we can change our username in the future? That will be yes. That will be there. It'll be only every six months. Right now, given that we were in closed beta, we couldn't just be having everybody be frivolous with their username changes. Also, every 6 months, because that is just, if you want to do it more than that, then put it underneath the pro membership. But I think every 6 months for everyone, even free user accounts, I think that's good enough. That's fine. But if you want to change it every 3 months, then I guess we'll put it underneath the pro membership. But yeah, we'll be able to do that. But given the fact that we were still in closed beta and our database was moving around and being transferring stuff, we couldn't have just everyone just, right now you can change your username by just submitting a ticket. Sorry, just looking for some more stuff. Will there be an InkBlot chat within the website itself? No, I'm sorry. There's just, no. There is way too many messaging in chat platforms. We have to focus. We have to keep our eye on exactly what we're here to do. And chat is not gonna happen. Will we be able to decorate our profile like DA? Yes, I think we went over that. Profile customization is definitely very close to us, and we've worked on that. Did you hear about what happened with InkBlot Art? Very sad. I did. I think that it's very sad that that's what happened. But that's that. Unfortunately, that happens. You need to know who you're supporting. You need to know they need to be visible. Trusting in me is trusting my team. Who I choose to work with and who I choose to be a part of the team is people that I trust, and I need to have your trust so that you can trust them. I'm very visible. I'm very open about who I am. You can literally find my LinkedIn. I even gave everyone, unfortunately, my dead name, because I've seen the community look into people that did not make themselves visible. I do not make my team visible, I make myself visible, because that trust trickles down. My ideas and who I am is going to, the saying, birds of the same feather flock together, correct? So who I hire is going to be similar in same thoughts as me. Now, obviously, people are people, and there can be people that slip under the radar and stuff, but for the most part, I vet exactly people that are on the same plane, same morals and thoughts as me, so that we can work together and that we can create a community that is very safe and you guys trust us. There's been far too many platforms that have come and gone because of who the founder was. And it's a shame that there is people like that making platforms and trying to cultivate communities or spaces to allow things that are not good. These things happen. And I can just honestly say that I'm very transparent about who I am, and those content guidelines are exactly what I believe in. If this is not the site for you, if you review those and you think that these content guidelines need to change, then this is not the site for you. So I'll be very transparent about that. And I know that, why is Jay trying to kick people out? I'm supposed to be selling InkBlot. I am. I'm selling it to the people that think like me and have the same morals as me. That's pretty much about it. So, what happened with Buzzly? They were not transparent about who they were. They did not have a set in stone guidelines. They did not conduct themselves like a business. Because at the end of the day, it's not just a website, it is a business. A website is ran like a business. They did not make themselves known, and they did not put their foot down for things that they did not discuss or make clear that they accepted. So, a catastrophe like that only has to do with what the agenda is of the creator. InkBlot is very clear about what it accepts and is very clear about what it does not. So, I don't have too much words on that. I guess I do, but I'm not going to go any further. We're out of time. So, basically, thank you all for coming, for viewing. We will continue to do these on Twitch. Zoom was a catastrophe. Not really. The people that came, I absolutely thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, because it was like, I was so nerve-wracking. But I know that I spoke with my team, and they mentioned that Twitch was just way more friendlier, or just kind of way more accessible, and I'm cool with that. Hopefully you all have kind of just gotten a sense for who I am, how you expect things to go with InkBlot, and just, if you're waiting on an invite, I'm very sorry for the delay. We have so much going on, and just want to make sure that your first impression is an impression that will make you stay. So that is the only reason why there is delay. And obviously with bugs, these things, we don't want to make them, we don't want to make them impossible to sign up. So these town halls are just being completely transparent, even though I'm transparent both on and outside of this live stream. I hope that you all see a future with InkBlot and that you decide to stay. It has been such a journey, and I do think that we cannot do this alone. We can't. None of us can, whether that is just being a user on a website or just being somebody that's trying to create another platform. We can't do this alone. The community needs to stick together, and I am so big on community, whether that is this one or even the racing community. We have to stick together because we are all passionate about the same thing, and that's the only way to go about it. So thank you so much for coming out. The next town hall will be in the next quarter, sometime within those next 3 months. So around fall time, which is going to be interesting since that'll be 3 months after public release. Thank you for coming. So you'll see another one back in the fall, and please invite all your friends and family. I decided that we are going to open our sign up on Wednesday, so it will be no access code needed. We will be doing that as a little surprise, and I just want to mention that just on the stream, and I won't be announcing that anywhere else. So if you have any friends that are waiting to jump in, look out Wednesday. The website will be just no sign up needed. Just go on in. So thank you so much for coming. I'm going to end it there because I'm way over time. So if you have any questions, please use the contact page on InkBlot.art. Contact us. If you have an account, go ahead. If you're in the Discord, go ahead. Just let us know for sure. Thank you so much. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you out there.